Hey, what's up guys? My name is Cartoonz, and as you have requested, I am going to be doing a full Frost Mage PvP macro guide for you guys. And I'm going to be doing this because it should help you out in the long run when you're trying to become a better mage. So yeah, let's get to it. But yep, so as you can see, all my macros are here. And you're going to notice that there's a few macros that like look the same or have the same icon or don't mean anything. They just look different, and I'm gonna get to that, so don't worry. I'm gonna get to it. Well, let's go ahead and start with my Icy Veins macro. What this is when I use this macro on my S key, it allows me to cast Icy Veins and use slot 13, which is my on-use trinket right here, Malevolent Gladiator's Badge of Dominance. So in one button, it uses two things. So that's a pretty great add-on, so that's a pretty great macro that you guys probably should be able to use. And I think that it's a pretty simple thing, easy to write, and it is all in the description for you. All the macros in the description for you. Okay, so we're moving on to my defreeze macro. My defreeze macro is 5. And what this is when I hit 5, because I have a no modifier macro, when I hit 5 on target, it will just deep freeze the target. But when I hit shift 5, when I hold shift and then hit 5, because I use a modifier macro, it allows me to deep freeze my target. So I don't have to have two buttons. I have one modifier. I don't have to make like a /cast at focus deep freeze macro. I just have this one. It's one button instead of two. And then I do the same thing with Fire Blast, and that's my 4. Or a lot of people seem to ask me what 4 and 5 is, so that's what it is. And then we're moving on to the Spellsteal macro. This is pretty important because you need this to fight paladins. When you cast Spellsteal, and then you Spellsteal a Hand of Sacrifice off of a paladin, or whatever, a paladin's teammate, to be able to CC him later, you need this because it cancels the Hand of Sacrifice instantly, and it would defeat the purpose if you didn't cancel the Hand of Sacrifice on you, because you're still dealing damage to the paladin. And then moving on, this is an arcane macro. It's just arcane power and use 13. I'm not really going to talk about anything that's of the different spec. If you want me to make a full arcane or full fire macro guide, just let me know in the comments. But here, this is pretty important. Show tooltip, remove curse. What this does is it allows you to mouse over a target. Like say I were to mouse over my, here, let me just show you. Say I'm able to mouse over my pet here, okay? If I mouse over him, hit shift W, it's going to decurse him instead of me. If I don't mouse over anybody, it's going to decurse me. Does that make sense? So it's a pretty good macro because you don't always have to target the person. You don't always have to make a macro to be able to target your party or whatever. You can just mouse over them and then get back to your business by blowing up adult plane striders and such. The good life. Okay, but anyways, I definitely recommend using that. A lot of people do use like they use like /cast like at the name of your party member, which is good too. But I like the mouse over macro. That's just my opinion. And then here's the ice block macro, and what this does is it is stop casting, you put cancel or ice block before you do /cast ice block, and what this does is you're able to ice block and then get out of the ice block really quickly. So as you can see, I'm gonna ice block and then I'm gonna get out of the ice block before I hit the ground because it's a fast macro. You're able to cancel the aura really quickly. So check it out. See, it's just very quick. And as opposed to pretty not. But here's another modifier macro, guys. I use /modifier for Froshaw, and this is pretty important because it helps you CC. I just exited on accident because I'm an idiot. But here you go. As you can see, it's just modifier shift target equals focus Froshaw. It's the same thing as my defreeze and my polymorph and stuff like that. Here's a pretty important one. I have my deep freeze icon labeled to my arena 1, 2, 3 macros. And what this means is I can target, I have it to shift 1, 2, 3, and what it does is I can hit shift 1 and target my arena enemy number 1. Shift 2, target my arena enemy number 3, and 3 for 3 obviously. But I put it in my defreeze macro, and I did show tooltip defreeze, so I can look over to here on the bottom right of my screen, and just happen to see a deep freeze. Like here, actually, why not do this? I'll show it a little to make it a little bit more obvious. If I were to do this, put it right here, then I am able to look over to the bottom right of my screen and see a ton of macros or a ton of icons for defreeze and know that it's on cooldown instead of having to look exactly at a button, like say my 5 button, and then you know, it's just easier to look in one general direction as opposed to look for one specific little button. It's more pixels to look at, it's easier to look at. And then moving on to my counterspell macro, it's literally the same thing. It's a modifier macro. I use a lot of modifier macros, guys. I make it pretty simple for myself. I don't have to, you know, deal with a ton of different complex macros. And then for focus 1, 2, 3, I have alter time focus 1, 2, 3. What this means is I can focus arena. It's the same thing as target arena, but I can focus target them. And what focus target does is it allows you to target one thing, and then I can put this on focus. As you can see down here, it has a focus target, and I can change that target, but my focus target will always be the same unless I change it. See, now that's my focus target. And then, yeah. So I definitely recommend using that, and I put it to the alter time because I actually use these icons a lot to be able to see if I have a cooldown for alter time still. But yeah. And then, okay, so check this out. As you can see right here on my second bar, I have a lot of those repetitive icons, and the reason for that is, again, so I can look down, see that it's on cooldown before I have to look at one specific spot and then try to find if it's on cooldown or not. You just register in your brain faster when you have more icons because you can see it better. But yeah, I have my Frostfire Bolt and Ice Lance on that, and the reason for that is because I know when I have a Frostfire Bolt proc or an Ice Lance proc, and I just changed the icon because you don't have a cooldown on Ice Lance or Frostfire Bolt, so you know, might as well use it for something that does, so you can see it. And you know, that's just how I use it, I suppose. And then that's for something. That's for Arcane. Here's my mount macro, and then I have for Orb. This is actually pretty important too. Most of the time when you're doing damage in Arena, you're going to use some kind of damage output when you use Frozen Orb. So I went ahead and just macroed my 13 macro to Frozen Orb because I feel like it's a strong enough spell to be able to need it. So when I use Frozen Orb, it's going to use my unused trinket as it hits the target. And overall, I think it's worth it. Some people might just want to do it manually, which is totally cool, but overall, I like using Orb with my unused trinket, especially since they're on the same cooldown. They're only a minute cooldown, and I think it's worth it overall. So, I mean, if you don't want to use it, that's perfectly fine, but that's just how I do it. And then, obviously, Polymorph is the same type of modifier macro. I use a ton, guys. I use a ton of macros like this. It's a pretty good one. Spellsteal, I have that for my Frozen Orb icon, and as you can see, like C, J, and K are all Frozen Orb icons, so I can look at the cooldown. Like, as you can see, both of these are on cooldown right now, and I can see them pretty easily because I don't have to look for one simple icon. And then here's my Ice Ward macro. I actually changed this. I made a video about it not too long ago, but I changed it for a different type of playstyle. And what I do for it now is when I hit shift, it's going to hit the target of the target. So usually if I'm using Ice Ward, I'm going to be fighting a melee cleave. And when I put Ice Ward on a target, it kind of gets a little difficult. So if I were to use Ice Ward and hit Shift D, because usually my macros are set up for, or my key binding is set up for D for Ice Ward. And check this out. So if I were to do /cast modifier shift, it's going to hit the target of my target, which in this case, you know, if like a warrior's battering on my healer, the target of my target is obviously the healer of mine. So if I were to hit shift D, it would give my healer Ice Ward. As opposed to not hitting shift D and just hitting D, I would be giving myself Ice Ward. Okay? Pretty strong. But literally, guys, that's all my macros right now. I may be making more in the future. I guess you'll have to pay attention to find out if I do. And overall, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from me today. You know, I took this video straight from you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed. But I want to let you know that I'm sorry I haven't been live streaming at all lately. I have been doing so much for school, and you know that I work really hard for you guys. But I am making this announcement right now, is that when summer comes, probably early June is when I'll start, is I'm going full-time YouTube, full-time live streaming. And this is going to be my summer job for this year, and I hope that you guys will support me through that, because I'm doing this, I'm relying on you guys overall, because this is going to be paying for my college tuition, hopefully helping out with it. And I'm not saying like you guys have to help with that. If you want to just come hang out, come hang out. That's cool. That's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to be happy and hang out with me on my live streams and YouTube videos. Anyways, that's it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and feel free to leave a like if you did. Cartoonz out.
To the rhythm.